Hey everyone, Dan here. We are just before close on Thursday, April 15th, and today we're going to go over 4 stocks that I think are good swing trading opportunities as far as what I'm seeing in the charts. And before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. Please also share these videos if you are on Reddit or Twitter or Facebook and you find one that tickles your fancy. Feel free to share it there. I would really appreciate sort of any help with the reach aspect as we build this YouTube channel. Okay, so let's start with OZON, which I believe is meant to be like the Russian Amazon. So OZON, I've been watching for a while now. I think I briefly had a position back when things started to get smash and crash in like February and March. And so I wanted to pull it up again to take a look with fresh eyes. And I think we might have something here. For all these stocks today, I'm on the 30-minute chart. And just to clarify, for me, I use the 30-minute and the 1 hour for like my shorter term swing trades, meaning 3 days to 5 days, something like that. It'd be the time frame that I'm looking for my play to play out in. If I'm doing a swing trade that's more like, say, a week and a half to 3 weeks, something like that, I'm going to give it a little bit more time to evolve. Then I go with like the 2 hour to the 4 hour, something like that. And then for my longer term trades, like investing type things, I look at the daily. But anyway, this is a 30-minute. All of these will be on 30-minute today. OZON is a play for a channel play. It's a bullish divergence play, and it's a gap filling play. So let me show you how. So the channel should be pretty apparent. It's in purple. It's been holding it for, well, since March 31st. So all of April, it's been holding it. And, you see good tests of top and bottom, several different tests. So it's a nice example of a pretty clean channel. It's been holding up really well. And so right now we are about in the lower half. When I first drew this, this zone that I was charting here, this 6190, represented all of this previous topping out. That basically what I was going to say is, it needs to develop support there, and then I would really think that it's going to ride this channel back up to the top. And if it does, by tomorrow, if it has support here around that $62 range, it'll still be in the lower half of the channel, would be in potentially good dip buy territory, unless there's some other indicator that's going against us or the entire market's turning sour, whatever, like myriad of things that could happen. But that's what I'm looking for from that initial support zone. On the gap side of things, OZON, I went and looked back. It's a frequent gap creator and it's a frequent gap filler. So you see this gap right here is the one that was most recently filled. So it pushed off, it came down, filled it some from the top and from the bottom, and then came to finish the job down here. Now there is a gap that it's left exposed up here, which would get it into the 62-ish dollar mark. Well, I guess it is right now. It would get it to mid 62s, we'll say. So it's starting to fill that gap. When I first charted it, it hadn't started to fill that yet. So this is sort of the disparity between what I'm talking about and what I thought I'd be talking about. So I didn't know it was going to move quite this fast. But there's a really sharp uptick on the MACD here. So that's what we look when we look for a crossover. The MACD of the signal is the sharper, the better, signaling a more clean, decisive move. And what I had marked here is there is a bullish divergence here where there's lower lows being made while the MACD started to increase. So you got a channel, you got gaps to fill on the upside, you got a support line to develop that would give it a clear pushing off point to get to that 63.29 and blow through this previous topping out, which represented the top of the channel at that point, but won't anymore. So I'm hoping that that is an impetus for it to push higher. And you have the bullish divergence. So lots of good things for OZON for a few day trade, in my opinion. All right. CRM is a channel play, a bullish divergence play, and a support level play. So what I'm seeing on CRM, which is Salesforce, which is the company that acquired Slack, which had the ticker symbol work, if you remember that. But anyway, CRM's been in this channel also for all of April. And I checked it out because I'm sure, folks are going to notice like this gap down here. I went back and looked, and it doesn't look to me that CRM is as common of a gap filler as many of the other stocks we look for. So I'm going to set that aside for now, but I will mention it. I guess we could put it in here in case it sort of plays a factor down the road. It's always hard to tell, but all you can do is sort of like do your best to guess whether or not the stock itself is a gap filler or not. I don't believe CRM is, but you never know. But anyway, it's been holding this channel the entire month. There is a bullish divergence here. So there were lower lows happening as the MACD started to move up. MACD is closing in on the real estate a little bit, but then has started to spread further again. So I'm hoping that that is a good sign. The bearish area of the histogram is receding ever so slightly. The bullish is also receding, so I'm hoping that either one of two things happen. Either with the receding on both the bullish and the bearish end, if it moves sideways a little bit or even comes down slightly, that gives us an even better entry point toward the bottom of the channel. Or that it gets support at this area which I had charted before, which it's hitting its head on right now, which is 233.08. And I think if it can get support there, which obviously it's had challenges with before, that will give it enough push to get up to the top of its channel, and would obviously stretch this MACD and signal line both up, into this range up here. But right now it's on a little bit of a downtrend, though it's making a move right now potentially. All right, so quick recap. Gap down here, I don't think it's anything to worry about, but let's keep a close eye on it. Channel play, sort of midpoint of the channel right now. If it gets support here, I think, we can get a push upward. It did have a recent bullish divergence, and the MACD is kind of flattening out a little bit, so it's sort of anyone's game, or it could be a sideways move, opportunity to buy the dip to the bottom of the channel. CRSP Therapeutics, which we made a video on a while back. Basically, I think CRISPR has a ton of upside, and it got beat down to about $100 recently, and I think it belongs at least double that. So yeah, so that's the amount of upside that I'm looking at here. And this play is basically a gap play and a trendline support play, and the MACD is looking potentially semi in our favor as well. So the gap is right here. CRISPR, I've been watching for a while, is a pretty common gap filler. You'll see this one here got filled. You see this one here got filled. You see this one here got filled. So common gap filler. And right now to me it's come down to fill from the top down this portion of the gap, but it's left the bottom up. That will require it to come up to about 126.25, and my hope is that it just cleanly walks itself up this trend line. If it does that, that means that it's potentially opening at that. By the time it opens tomorrow, it will have filled the gap. So then, to me, the next thing is develop support at 126.84, support at 127.76. And that will give us a stretch to get over this previous topping out and might give us a nice run up. The MACD is looking like it's wanting to cross over. The bearish momentum is waning. Bullish, I think, is sort of yet to be seen. I think it's sort of rebuilding. And just to be clear on, I think this is on CRISPR, unless it's on the next ticker. Yeah, on CRISPR. So this goes all the way back to like March, previous support zones that it was trying to hold here, and then it fell through, and see it came all the way down to 106, and then tried to approach that zone again, hit it as resistance again, and got dropped down to 111, and now is trying to build back off of 111. So it keeps hitting this zone over the course of several weeks now. So developing above that would be a big deal, and so that's obviously what it's going to need if it's going to push back toward 150 and then to 200. But first things first, fill this gap, walk up this trend line, develop support here, flip over the MACD, and let's ride. And last but not least, FedEx. So this is a hammer play, potential hammer play, and a channel play, and a flagging out play. And the MACD is also looking pretty favorable. So FedEx has been in this channel for also all of April. It's tested the bottom and the top. It's tested the bottom a couple of times. The top nearly twice, we'll say, if we count this one. It was starting to form a little bit of a downtrend here, sort of a down channel within the up channel, and it broke out of that. It didn't even need to push. It didn't even get pushed down here toward the bottom of the channel. It pushed itself up and over. So I'm hoping that either one of two things happens. Either it continues to consolidate here and then uses that as momentum to push upward, or it sort of comes down here toward the bottom of the channel again tomorrow, which to me would be a fine dip buy as long as it's showing price strength and bouncing off the bottom there. What I would really look for if it plays out is, there was a hammer here. You see this hammer candle that allowed it to build all of this big run, a $20 run, which is really nice. And then there's a hammer question mark here because, a red hammer is not your most ideal situation, and the body of this candle is kind of big. If you compare it to this one, this is much more of a true hammer. This is sort of a questionable hammer, and I think sort of the coming days will tell us. So either this to me is the beginning of maybe a good like 10% push, 8-10% push up, or it's going to come down. The thing that I'd really look for, obviously, if it gets toward the bottom of this channel, is if there is a clean green hammer that hits. I would be all over that. That would, of course, require being on top of the chart, but, sometimes that's just what you have to do. On the MACD, it is the bearish momentum is waning, so that's good. And then, we've been able to roll up twice now on the bullish momentum. Obviously, it's going to come back down and test across here. Even if it does cross over and comes down a little bit, again, I don't think it's a big deal. As long as it can hold the bottom of this channel, I would feel pretty good about it. So that's what I would look for from FedEx. All right, well, it's almost the end of the week. This video was my 100th stock analysis video, I believe. Tomorrow will be 101, so I'm going to be doing something nostalgic and fun. But I appreciate everyone who's come along for the ride so far, and just know that there's much more to come, and spreading the word and keeping, I guess, subscribed and up to date is really helpful and kind of helps me keep the pace with these daily videos, which can be quite taxing at times. In any case, I hope everyone had a good week since it's almost over, and no matter what you're trading, I hope it was a fruitful one, and I hope you are learning a lot as we go through these trades week to week. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my 101st stock analysis video tomorrow.